Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So it's quite late right now, but I thought why not come on and make a little YouTube video showing everyone how to make an anonymous chat room using Bubble Apps. Alright guys, so if you do not know what Bubble Apps is sort of like a visual HTML editor. And I thought I'd start a series doing Bubble to go alongside my Python series. So Bubble's actually free. This is the brilliant thing about it. And you can pay for it to get custom URLs, but for early development and trying it out, it's free and that's brilliant. The link to Bubble will be in the description, or you can go ahead to bubble.io in your URL bar and that'll take you there. You want to make an account, press create new app, and then wait there and carry on watching this video. Here's what we're going to make in today's video. This is a very simple, anonymous chat platform. We'll be building this over the next few weeks. We'll end up adding, signing in, creating accounts, sending pictures, adding friends, having direct messages, and having multiple chat servers. But at first, this is just going to be a very simple one chat room website where there are no names, no accounts, nothing. It's all just anonymous. So here's an example. If I write in here hello, press send message, as you can see hello will now appear over there. Now someone else from their computer can go ahead to the URL of my website and they can also write hey or something along those lines, and then I will see that message come through. So this is a messenger and it's really simple. I made this in less than 5 minutes. Now obviously I have quite a lot of experience with Bubble because I do quite a lot of development on it. I made my company's website using Bubble. If you want to check that out, that link will be in the description, dolvian.com. But for now, let's focus on this. I've called my chat app today Anonymini. I called it that because it's a mix between anonymous and I thought that sounded cool. It doesn't really matter what you call your app, but I'm going to walk you through how to make your first app and how to make this. Alright, let's get started. To begin, head over to bubble.io in a browser of your choice. As you can see, I'm already logged into an account. If you're not logged into an account, you'll need to sign up or log in. Signing up is quite straightforward, so I'll leave you to do that yourself. After you've signed up, go to bubble.io and you should be presented with the same page that I'm on now. This is where you can see all of your apps, the names of them, and you can edit the names of them. To begin, we're going to press new app. You're going to have to name your app. Today, I'm going to name my app Tutorial. What are we building? We're building a social network. I'm going to write in here on the details of what I'm building, chat platform. Create a new app. Tutorial's already taken. I've just remembered. These actually need to be unique. So I'm going to write tutorial video chat application. You guys can call this whatever you want. You can even make it complete gibberish. It does not matter. Unless you want it to be a bit more presentable. If you want to share this with your friends, use it to chat to them, then you might want to make this a bit more presentable. For example, I've made ones in the past called Lime, Guava, Eagle, etc. Create a new app. After you've filled in all that, press the button, create a new app, and the page will begin loading. Now, depending on your Wi-Fi speeds, this can take different amounts of time. For me, it doesn't take very long. For you, it might take 2 minutes. Okay, now you'll be presented with the new application assistant. I want you to press start with a blank page. I prefer to do this so I don't have to go and delete all the elements Bubble add on. Don't worry, I'll explain what elements are after. Now, let's press let's get started. And let's get started. I want you to write in here in this box what you'd like to show up in your browser. For example, for me on Anomony, it says Anomony. So I am going to write in here tutorial chat. Then I'm going to hit OK next step. Now this is going to be where I can choose the language I want it in. For me, I'm alright with EN/US. I'm from Britain, but it doesn't really matter. I can't be bothered to look for EN/UK, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK next step. Now, this is where you can choose a theme. To begin with, I'd just recommend choosing the standard bubble theme, but if you really want to swap it, you can. You cannot see a preview of the theme though when you choose here, so if you really want to use a theme, I'd recommend changing it later on when you can see a preview of what it will look like. For now, I'm just going to choose the standard bubble theme, soon as this is a very simple website. Hit use this theme. Okay, do I have a favicon to upload? No. Unless you pay for Bubble, you can actually not upload your own favicon. This is one of the bad things about Bubble. Remember though, there are many good things. If you don't know what a favicon is, well, there's actually a preview of it here. A favicon is the image that shows up next to the tab. On Safari PC that does not show, but on Google and other web searching applications, it will probably show up. As soon as we can't upload anything, we just have to use Bubble's default, so we're going to hit OK next step. We do not need to install any plugins for this. However, if you ever go on to make any other apps, plugins can be a really useful way to add more resources to your application. For example, if you want to make a shop using Bubble, you can do it. I've done it. You can do it too. We'll probably have a tutorial on our channel in the future weeks on how to do that. But for now, we don't need any plugins. Hit OK next step. Hit go to last step. And close. Now this is the website we'll be working with over the time of this video. Alright, let's begin. First of all, I'm going to explain how this page is, because it can look a little bit daunting at first. When I first came on this page, I was like, what is this? It's okay to be confused and lost when you're first using an application. Don't worry though, I'll walk you through it. Let's go from left to right, top down. Here, this is a button to go to the home of Bubble. You probably won't be using that much, but if you really need to, you can. If you hit this arrow here, it'll list all the pages. By default, Bubble gives you an index page, 404, reset password as well. You can also add a new page from here. A page is each page of your website. For example, if you hit home on YouTube, the home page on YouTube is one page. There is also the subscribe channels page. That's another page. So you're starting to understand what a page is now, yeah? Well, the default page, the landing page, is the index page. So this is what will show up if someone doesn't put a slash after the domain and writes in a page. This will just be what happens if it's default. So if you go straight to youtube.com, you get put on the home. So the home page is the index page in theory. It's the landing page. It's what you see as soon as you go on the website. It makes you think, oh look, I want to watch that. Oh look, I want to watch that. So we need our opening page, our landing page, to be really nice. But remember, in this video, it's going to be so simple and it's not going to have any fancy techniques. However, we'll add them over time. So we don't need to add any pages for now, so just click on index here. Let's move on. This drop down here shows the elements. Elements are all of these: buttons, text boxes, icons, images, shapes. Everything you see on your website, that's an element. It's like an object or an item. Here this is edit, so you can undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, and all of these things can be done from this little menu, this drop down. I find myself using keyboard shortcuts more often than using this. However, if you don't know keyboard shortcuts yet, it's okay to use the edit menu. Help. Now this is actually really good. Now, I've got to admit to it, I've not actually watched all these videos, because I watched a lot of videos on YouTube to get started. However, if you really are feeling stuck and need any help, and I can't help you with it, then please go and watch here. As you can see, the Bubble interface, that's what I'm explaining right now. Building your first Bubble workflow, understanding responsive techniques, etc, etc. Over here we've got a search. This will let us search elements, events, actions, reusable elements, and so on. We probably won't be using that very often. The next one is preview. This will let us see a preview of what our website looks like before we publish it to the public. This can be useful when doing development. We'll be using this a lot. Nextly, there's the account settings thing. We won't be using this very much. Okay, let's head over to the left of the screen again and do all of these. There's the design, which will let us see what our page is going to look like. So if I press button here and drag on a button, as you can see, we've now got our button. If I press on the button twice, then I can now see the properties of that button. So for example, here is the text that's shown on the button. So if I type in here, click me, then now that button says click me. I can also change the style. I can make the element a fixed width. I can change the height and width of the button, or I can use it like this to do that, which I prefer. And I can also delete the element. We can add conditions to the element of when it was pressed, clicked, hovered, etc. And we can also add transitions. For now though, I am going to delete this button because we'll be coming back to this later. All of the things you see on the left here are all elements. Now, we won't be using all of them today. However, we'll be using a good few. So it's good to remember what element does what. We'll go through this later on. Nextly, we've got workflows. Workflows is like the coding to your element. So if I have a button in the center of my screen that says click me, and I press start/edit workflow, I'm now on the script of that button. The actions that button is going to complete are shown here. So if I press click here to add action, these are all actions I can make that button do. The possibilities really are endless. And if you can't find the event you want, which is what these are called events here. If you can't find the event you want, you can even make a custom event or download a plugin to help your needs. For example, if we wanted to make the button hide itself when it was clicked, we could press hide. So it says button click me is clicked, hide button click me, and that'll complete that. So if I press preview up here and I click this, boom, it's hidden. Just like that. No coding required. That took us 2 seconds, didn't it? And that's pretty spectacular if you ask me. I mean, you've just got onto Bubble and you can already make a button hide itself. You're doing quite well. Alright, I'm going to delete that button and we're going to continue. Data. Now, this is one of the wonderful things of Bubble. You will not find many other websites doing this. I am going to stretch out my page a bit because it seems to be crushing the web page. Right, okay. Now, I don't even know how to get started on data. Data is going to be used a lot. I mean, we're using it today already and it's very advanced. But it can also be very basic. We'll explain data more later on because it can be so advanced. We'll come back to it. But let's start by going over what data does. Data's like variables that can be referred to in our workflows. Remember? Workflows. That's what we touched on earlier. The coding for elements. We've also got styles, which is the way things look. This is where you can choose your themes, change themes, make new themes, and so on. We've also got a plugins page. You can add plugins here. Now the great thing about Bubble is it has a huge selection of plugins. Look at all these. You can even get plugins that add shopping and other buying elements to your Bubble site. Okay, nextly we've got settings. Now this will come in handy if you do want to get your website out there and on its own domain, because by default Bubble apps have the name of the app you gave it, .bubbleapps.io. Now you don't want to have a big mainstream website with .bubbleapps.io, do you? No, I didn't think so. So you can actually buy a domain and use Bubble to host it. Now, that can be expensive because you have to buy a Bubble subscription and you have to get you have to host a domain somewhere. So that can get expensive. We'll touch on that more in later videos. But for now, we're just making a very simple baseline chat app. So for this, we're going to head back over to design. we're going to get a little feel for how the design elements work. So I want you to put down one button. So do that by holding down the mouse button on button and dragging and dropping in this white canvas here. Now we've got one button on, I want you to scroll down this menu here and I want you to put on a multi-line input. Okay, so you've got a button and a multi-line input. What else? You're also going to need repeating group. Doesn't matter where they are for now, because we're going to rearrange them later. And you're going to need a shape. And you're going to need text. Alright, surprisingly enough, you won't believe me when I say it, but trust me, surprisingly enough, we can make a whole chat app with just these elements. That's right, you can make a whole chat app with only a text box, a shape, a multi-line input, and a button. Oh, sorry, and a multi-line input. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Does not look like a chat app yet. You're completely right there. We need to change this. We need to make it look like a chat app. So I'm going to drag, you want to drag your multi-line input to the top of the screen, alright? And then I want you to drag it out because this is going to be where people type their message. Then get your button that we summoned earlier and drag that just underneath. Now, I know what you're thinking. This still does not look like a chat app. It says edit me here, type here. That's not what I want my chat app to be like. It's okay. We're going to make it look good. Just be patient. Double click on your button and write in this box here, send message. In this box here, write type a message to send ... or something along those lines. Remember, you don't have to copy me word for word. This isn't coding. This is creative minds running free. Right, I want you to drag all your other elements up here because now things are about to get quite messy on the canvas. We're going to drag out our repeating group, scroll down on our page, and then drag this down. Now, a repeating group. This is quite a complex element, and it's not always easy for beginners to use. But don't worry, I'm going to try and explain it the best I can. A repeating group is sort of like a list of elements that are repeated over and over again. So I think the best way to show it would be by showing it. The best way to explain it would be by showing it. So I'm going to get a shape here. If I size it down to fit in this little box here that we can see, this box that my mouse is in right now, if we put my shape inside of it, my shape is now repeated over and over and over again because it's a repeating group, so it'll repeat it for as many rows as there are. Now I'm going to stretch out this shape here. This shape is going to be the box that our message goes in because we don't want it going on a white background. Now I want you to get your text and I want you to drag it on top of your box. You'll see this is also duplicated down all the rows of your repeating group. Now I want you to press edit. So I want you to right click on your text and then press edit up here. This will bring up a little properties thing, or you can double click on the element. And in here I want you to write message. All in caps. You don't have to, but I just like to do this when I'm planning out what my interface is going to look like. I also want you to try messing around with styles. So to do this, we're going to just go up here. We're going to scroll all the way to the top until we can't scroll anymore. We're going to hit this blank box here. Now this is going to let us change the font right here. So if I want to make it a little bit bigger, I can do so. If I want to make it a bit smaller, I can do so. I can also change the font here. So I'm going to change my font. I'm going to make it bold. And I'm going to increase the size a little bit because not everybody can see these small writing messages. Right, I'm now going to drag out my text box all the way to cover the box, leaving just thin gaps on the sides. This is going to be all the capacity the message written will be able to fill. Alright, Now I am going to drag this into proportion, like so, this box up here, and I'm going to move the send message button. This is going to be the interface of your site. Not brilliant, right? Oh, I didn't think so. Don't worry though, we'll make it look better in the next episode. For now, we're just getting the fundamentals going. Alright, so if we hit preview now, our chat app is going to load. You'll notice the repeating rows have gone. Where have they gone? They're not here because they don't have anything to display. There's nothing for them to show. So if I write a message in here, nothing's going to happen. Because none of these elements are actually programmed with workflows to do anything yet. But that's what we're about to do. So, we're going to go on data now. Now, to make our chat app, we're going to have to add some new data types. And I want you to copy me here, word for word. Add a new type, message. And add a new type, server. Okay. They're the only data types we need, but now we need to add new fields to these data types. Create a new field on message, and I want you to make a field called text and make the field type text. Do not tick this box here. This will make it not work. Hit create, boom. Now I want you to press create a new field again, and this time I want you to make a field called server. In this video, we won't really be playing around with this field, but I'd like it in there for later. Hit number on field type and press create. Make sure not to tick that box again. Now, next to server, I want you to put in here, as the default, 1. That's very important. And leave the text one blank. Now on server, I want you to add a couple new fields. Firstly, we'll want to add ID. And this is going to be a number. This is not going to have this box checked. Hit create and put in the default 1. Don't worry if you're getting lost. I'll explain all of this after. We just need to get it done first and then I can explain it more easily. Then we need to make another new field. This is going to be called messages. Now in this time, in the field type, we're actually going to select message. Now this normally wouldn't be here. But because of our custom data type over here, which we can see just, it's actually become available. So you want to press that. Now, for the first time, don't hit create straight away. Tick this box and then hit create. Okay, now we've added all our fields and data types, I'll explain it to you. Press on server so you can follow along with me. Okay, the ID. The ID is a number. So when messages get sent, they need somewhere to go. And at the moment, the messages are going to a server. Although at the moment, we've only got one server, eventually we might want to have multiple chat rooms, each with a different server ID. So this is why we're setting up and we're preparing for future. So at the moment, every time a message is sent, if you press on message over here, a message consists of a piece of text, probably written by the user, and a server. This server by default is 1 and it cannot be changed on the user's end. So if this is default by 1 and server, the ID of the server is defaulted by 1, that 1 and that 1, they link up. They go, hi, I'm your server. Hi, I'm your message. And then they go on a date, alright? They go on a date and that message becomes a part of that server. Now that server gets another message and that goes with that server. It's the same server, but this server has so many wives and it's allowed them. Okay, you might not like that explanation. I'm sorry, I just thought of it on the spot. But I'm pretty sure that should have worked for you. If not, leave a comment. I can explain it more. Alright, so now we've explained each field and what they do. Oh, actually, I've missed one. On server, messages, it's a list of all the messages that have the server 1, which all of them will have by default, and the user can't change it, so all of them will have at the moment. So every message sent will be put in this server's data, along with its ID. Okay, I know it can seem a little bit confusing. Don't worry, you'll get the hang of it. Alright, let's go back onto design now. I want you to double click on your repeating group. Not on a shape, not on the text, just the repeating group. Now scroll up to the top. Here we've got type of content. On type of content, you choose what you want your repeating group to display and what variables you want to access. Variables are sort of the fields that we added to that data thing earlier. I just keep on calling them variables because I'm used to that sort of way of thinking of things. But it's okay if you don't understand. On type of content, I want you to select message. And then I want you to click on click in data source and do a search for. Now this is going to let us search for messages. So I want us to search for a message where the server equals, click here and then type in 1 and enter, and then click here. Just click over in anywhere in this grey box and that will now put 1 in. So that now is saying, for this repeating group, it wants content that's a message and the data source of those messages is going to be from any server that has the ID of 1. Any message that has the server of 1. Okay, I know that can seem a little bit confusing. I promise it will get easier. It was confusing to me at first as well. You just sort of have to get the hang of data. Okay, now, at the moment, if we press preview, nothing is really going to have changed. If I send a message, nothing's changed because we still need to add stuff to our repeating group. But don't worry, we're nearly there. I want you to double click on the text and I want you to press insert dynamic data. Make sure you get rid of this thing that says message that we wrote in earlier. Hit insert dynamic data and then current cells message. Now we can see the variables, the fields that we put in for a message earlier. So we've got server, text, and then creator is one that's put there by default. So we want to get the message is text here. So this will now display the message as text. Now, messages would be displayed here. However, we cannot send messages yet. And if you can't send messages, then there are no messages to display. So now we need to program in the last function on our Bubble app. I want you to double click on this button here and press start/edit workflow. That's right, we're going back to the workflows tab to do one last job. Press click here to add an action and then press data. This is going to let us make things. I know that sounds a little bit weird. Things, thing. These are sort of like making data types, making an instance of that data type. So we're going to hit create new thing, aka create a new instance. And then the type of that instance is going to be a message. Hit set another field and then text. We want the text to be insert dynamic data. We want it to be multi-line input value. Don't worry, I'll explain this after. But before that, we need to do this. Hit set another field, server equals, type 1 in and press this grey box here. That'll put 1 in. Okay, I know this might look a bit daunting. Don't worry, I'm going to explain it. So what this does is it makes a new message that goes in the database, and the text of that message is whatever's written in here when we press this button. And then the server that message is being sent to is server 1, because the messages that are shown here are from server 1. Now, I know this can seem a little bit hectic, but don't worry, I'm sure you'll get the hang of it after we explain it some more in future videos. But I want you to hit preview. Now, cross your fingers because your app should be working. Let's have a little try. Type in hello and send message. And oh my god, your message has appeared right in front of your eyes. Try typing in something different. Hey. And look at that, it worked as well. Now, there's just one flaw with our app at the moment. The new messages are shown further down than the old messages. So, to change this, I want you to exit your debug/preview, and I want you to double click on your repeating group. On the data source, click on Search for Messages, and on Sort By, select Created Date. Then on Descending, click Yes. Alright, that should be all cleared up. Hit Preview. Cross your fingers, let's hope this is going to work. And it has. The new messages are shown before the old messages. Okay, so you've learnt in this episode how to use data types, the basics of elements, how to change element properties, how to do custom fonts, and some basic workflow techniques. You've also learnt some basics about the UI of Bubble. So I do hope this first episode of our Bubble series has been really helpful to you. Leave any comments in the description. I think that's all I've got to say for today. So I'll see you later, and good